What is going on, guys? Today we're back again with another video on the Hellcat. Today we're going to talk about the 5 things I hate about my 2020 Widebody Charger Hellcat. So before we get started, I just wanted to touch on one thing here. There's really nothing I hate about this car. Hate's a strong word. However, there are 5 little things that do bother me, and I wish they would have done better on this new design of the 2020 Widebody Charger. So let's get into those now. My car's a 10-footer right now because if you're 10 feet away it looks clean, but if you get up close, this thing is filthy, guys. I've put about 200 miles on it since the last car wash, and it is filthy and bugged out. Just look at the brake dust on these wheels. It's probably hard to tell, but watch when we do this. Yeah, it's filthy. I actually got caught in the snow and in the rain here in Michigan over the last few days, so it's been it's pretty filthy. So after this video I'm gonna do my review and take it home and give her a bath because she is definitely dirty. One other thing I added to the car that I think I mentioned in my last video, but I have this little splitter here on the rear window, almost like a little wing, I guess you could say. I added that. It just gives it a nice touch. It's gonna look sick once I get the roof wrapped and everything else wrapped on the car. But as of right now, nothing more has changed on the Hellcat. So let's go ahead and get in here and go drive around and talk about the 5 things I hate. Alright guys, so we're in the Charger now, and to start off we're going to talk about 5 things I hate about my 2020 Widebody Charger Hellcat. As I mentioned earlier in the video, these things I mentioned to you guys are not going to be necessarily things I hate about this car. Like, I absolutely love this car. There's not, like, I don't want to knock Dodge, I don't want to knock Mopar. I absolutely love this car. However, you know, if there was 5 improvements I would make to this car, these are what they would be. So, to start off, the number one thing I don't like about this car that I wish they would have improved from my last car, my last Charger, which was a 2017, is the yellow, dingy interior lights that these cars come with. Now, I am not sure why. I know this body's been out since 2015, when the Hellcats first came out, and I just don't know why they haven't replaced the dingy halogen yellow bulbs in the interior lights with LEDs. As you guys might have saw on a couple videos ago, I did a LED interior light install for this car with using last fit LED lights, and wow, what a difference it made. If you guys didn't check that video out, make sure you go check it out. I just posted it like last week. It's a real informative video on how to change out your interior lights if you have one of these cars, because most people buying a $70,000 plus car expect the car to have, you know, LED lights. Yes, I know the exterior lights are all LED, no problems there, but when you open up the car and you have this nice interior you want to show off and you have dingy halogen bulbs in there, like, come on. So that's one thing I wish they would have improved. Another thing I wish was better on this 2020 Charger Hellcat Widebody, it's actually going to be the same for any Charger model or Challenger for this year, is the crappy display of the backup camera. When you put the car in reverse and you look at your 8.4-inch Uconnect touchscreen here, the whole thing turns into a camera for a backup camera. All sounds fun and dandy, right? Well, the quality of this camera was made in like probably the early 2000s. Like, it's not crisp, it's not clear, it's terrible. And I'll show you guys, I'll pick up the other camera and show you guys what I'm talking about here in a minute. But compared to my 2019 Ram, the new 5th gen Ram that I have, that camera is insane. It's almost like looking through a 4K display or like through your iPhone. It's very crisp, very clear, and I just wish they would have upgraded the screens in these cars and or the camera. It's probably just the camera that needs to be upgraded to the new style, better resolution camera. So that's going to be number 2 on today's list. And now moving on to number 3 on today's list of things I don't like about this car is going to be the performance pages. Yes, in the Uconnect system, there's what's called performance pages, and I will go over those with you guys. Well, actually, I can't go over them with you, unfortunately, in this car, because they haven't worked since the day I took delivery of the car. And I've had 4 of these cars, and every one I've had, when you go to performance pages, it's very laggy. And I wish Uconnect or SRT pages or whoever designs that portion of the firmware, I wish they could implement something better to make it run a lot faster. I know in my last car, when you hit performance pages, it would literally sit there for like, I don't know, 10 seconds before it would pop up. Where like if you hit media or climate or controls or your apps page, instant, it comes right up. Well, ever since I took delivery of this car, as you saw maybe in my video or MotorTube's video, my performance pages just sit there and say loading and loading and loading when you hit the button forever. Like they still, I drove for 2 hours one night and just left it on that to see if it'd finally pop up. I have yet to see performance pages in this car. I don't know if that's something wrong with my Uconnect. I don't know. I'm getting ready to call Uconnect probably tomorrow and see what they have to say about it. I don't know if they're shut down due to the pandemic that's going around the world right now. I don't know. And I really don't like taking my cars to the dealers because they're just careless when it comes to getting in your car, scratching your steering wheel, your seats, you know, curbing your wheels. I'm real leery about taking my car to the dealership for service, so I hope Uconnect can maybe send me like a flash or a USB stick and flash it myself or something. I don't know if it's my Uconnect system here, my screen that's broken, or if it's on the server or something. I don't know what the problem is, but I need to find out because I like looking at the performance pages. I like watching all my data on the screen pop up. I think that's a really cool part of this car, and I can't enjoy that. I can't see it. It's not usable for me, so I definitely need to get that fixed ASAP. I just hit 500 miles on the car, and if you saw my last video, I talked about the 5 things I love. I love this car, guys. I mean, there's not much I have to complain about it, but today we're going over the things that I feel that should be improved or could be improved, with it being a 2020 year model, and yeah, a whole new design, a new wide body. So but yeah, that performance pages is very annoying. I wish they would just kick on. I even tried resetting the car, like undoing the battery and seeing if that would help. It didn't. So still no performance pages, so I can't even show you. I'll show you guys what it's doing to me. Like it'll say please wait. I'll show you guys what it's doing, but it literally sits on that screen for probably, well, for 2 hours that one day. So that's got to go. It's got to get fixed. So I'm getting ready to call Uconnect and see what they have to say. If they can't help me, then I'll have to take it to the dealer, unfortunately. But that marks number 3 on today's list. Alright guys, and for the 4th thing I don't like about this car, or I think should be improved, is the rear tires on Hellcats. I'm not even just talking about this Hellcat. I'm talking about all Hellcats and even Scat Packs. If you're a Mopar guy, if you have a Scat Pack or a Hellcat and you got it new from the dealership and you pulled it off the lot and you hit that throttle and you realize your car doesn't go anywhere but into the curb or into the crowd, no wait, we're not Mustangs, so we're not crowd killers, but you know what I mean. The Pirelli, the stock Pirelli tires, the all-season tires that come on these cars are absolutely junk. I don't know why Dodge continues to put on a all-season tire with 0 traction. The compound's very hard, not soft at all. I had them on my Scat Pack when I first got that, and they didn't work. I had to put Nitto drag radials on that. I had them on the Hellcats that I've had. Don't work. I literally, at 500 miles, once the car's broke in, I went ahead and put drag radials on it. So stay tuned for that. I will be getting drag radials put on this, and I'll go into depth on which drag radials I put on these cars that I find that work the best. So I'll give you guys that, you know, tip here once I make that video, once I get them. I haven't got my tires yet for this car, but yes, the Pirelli tires. Pirelli's a great brand tire. I've used them on dirt bikes. I've used them on different cars. You know, my mom's SRT Durango has them all the way around. If it's an all-wheel drive car, great. They work great. They work great in the snow. They work great in the rain. They have a great tread pattern, but they do not work for high performance vehicles, and I don't know why they continue to put those tires on there from the factory. If it was me working at Dodge, or I was a higher up there, a director in charge of this, I would be like, it's a safety hazard, honestly. People that aren't familiar with horsepower and get in these cars and right off the lot and floor it at 700 horsepower, they're gonna loop the thing out. They're not gonna understand what to do. It's gonna go sideways on them, and they're gonna be all over the road, and it's dangerous. So that's one thing I really wish, I mean, they've had 5 years to come up with some sort of tire. It doesn't have to be a Nitto drag radial, but just a DOT softer compound tire would be great. I mean, they did it on the Demons. The Demons came with Nitto NT05Rs all the way around, and that they were street legal, you know, they're DOT tire. Why can't they put something like that on these cars? I have no idea. But if you guys have one of these cars, or you know what I'm talking about, the guys that have one of these cars know exactly what I'm talking about, because those tires just, they're junk. They don't work, and after 5 years you'd think they would have come up with something to better handle the 700 horsepower that these Hellcats have. You know, the Red Eye 797, the Demons 840. Granted, the Demon comes with the drag radials, which I honestly feel that every car, even Scat Packs, just put the Nittos on them. Put a drag radial on them. People will be more satisfied with the car, the performance, the handling, and it'll just be an all-around better tire. Now, they're not a better tire for getting caught in the rain, or if it's a daily driver and you have to drive it in the snow. Okay, but who's literally going out to buy a Hellcat to specifically drive in the snow? You're not. And if you are, you're lying. If you say you are, you're lying. You know, I get it. Some people can't afford 2 different vehicles, and this is all they can afford. But guess what? When it comes to wintertime, then you go buy your $200-300 snow tires, or however much they cost, and throw snow tires on the rear and call it a day. It's that simple. So that's a big, that should have been my #1 on the list, but that marks #4 on today's list on what I hate about this car, and what I honestly feel they should be improving. Not only for performance, but as a safety hazard. I mean, you know, these cars at 700 horsepower, I'll say it again, they are violent on a all-season tire. So they definitely need drag radials. Stay tuned for upcoming videos on this car. I will be putting a set on, and I'll let you guys know exactly what tire, what spec I go with. I've had many years of playing with drag radials. I've tried them all. I've tried every brand, and I've stuck with one brand, and I will go over that here in the next couple videos on what tires I'm going to put on this 2020 Widebody Hellcat. Alright guys, last but not least, oh, I hear a cop, and there's a cop. Are we going to get pulled over? Well, he didn't slam on his brakes or turn around, so I think we're good. I mean, I'm literally doing 40 miles an hour on some back roads right now, just filming this for you guys, but you never know. It's, you know, my car's pretty dark, tinted out. Probably can't tell in the camera, but definitely tell from the outside. Anyway, the last and final thing I hate about this car, marks #5 on today's list, will be the brake dust that these 6-piston Brembo brakes produce on any Hellcat. Not just the 2020 Widebody Charger Hellcat, but any Hellcat or Red Eye or Demon. Actually, the Demon comes with 6-piston, but any, I'm sorry, 4-piston. Any 6-piston Brembo brakes on any of these Mopars, Jeeps, Trackhawks, Hellcats, Chargers, Challengers, they produce the worst brake dust ever I've ever seen on any car. I don't know why. I love the brakes. I think they look massive. They look great. They perform amazing. They, you know, stop on a dime. I mean, we're having to stop 4,600 pounds, guys. Like, that's a lot of weight when we're drag racing this car. You know, 4,600 pounds to go from 140 miles an hour back down to 40. It takes some braking action there. It takes some power. So the Brembo brakes that come on these cars work awesome. I love them. They look good, they work great, but they produce some of the worst brake dust I've ever seen in my life. Now, there is a fix for this, and I did it on my last Charger Hellcat, the 2017 I had. The fix is order Power Stop brake pads, which are dust-free brake pads. And yeah, I didn't believe it either, guys, trust me. But I went ahead and ordered a set for my 2017 car, and they worked great. They didn't show any brake dust, barely any at all. Like, they still have a little bit of brake dust, but nowhere near the amount of brake dust that the Brembos create. But I want to say something about those, and here's why I'm not putting them on my 2020. I felt that they wore out really fast. I only had my car for about 2.5 years, and I felt that they wore out pretty fast. I could feel the pedal as weeks went on. I could feel it getting softer and softer and softer, the brake pedal. So I am not going to put those on this car. The performance of those pads aren't as good. They were called Power Stop Z26 brake pads, I believe. the performance of them was not as good as the Brembo pads, which I was told that when I bought them, but I didn't care. I was so frustrated having to wash my wheels every day because the front wheels would get so caked on with brake dust, they would literally turn brown. It just looked terrible. It was dirty all the time. So I'd have to literally get out at any car meet or any car show and wipe my wheels down, spray detail them, wipe them down, and it was just a pain. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna go ahead and order these Power Stop brake pads that everybody's telling me, order them up. They don't show any brake dust. They work fine. Blah blah blah. Well, they did their job. They did not produce a lot of brake dust, which I liked. However, they didn't perform as well as the stock Brembo pads, and I would rather have my car perform better and stop better in case of an emergency, or when we have to stop at the end of a race or wherever I'm at. If I'm on a back road hitting corners and a deer runs out, I want to be able to stop immediately, abruptly. That's why I'm not putting them on this car. That's basically it. That marks number 5 on today's list of the things that I hate about this 2020 wide-body Charger Hellcat. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I don't necessarily hate these things. They're things that I wish could be improved, or things that Dodge could have done prior to 2020. They've had 5 years now with this same chassis and body. I know the wide body's different, but for the most part it's the same car since 2015. Same engine, performance, transmission, everything. So those are the 5 things I hate about this car, and that's basically going to wrap up today's video. There's really not a lot I can talk bad about this car. I don't want to knock Dodge, like I mentioned before. I absolutely love this car. But those are the 5 things that I would pick. If I had to nitpick this car out, those are the 5 things that I would pick that I would change if I was building this car at Dodge or whatever. If Dodge wanted my input on things they could improve or change, those are the 5 things. So there you have it. That's going to complete today's video. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Stay tuned. I've got a lot of content coming for this car, guys. I've actually ordered a couple parts for it already that are not here yet. I know due to this coronavirus and pandemic, the shipping times are being extended. So I do have a lot planned for this car, so stay tuned. I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at DoWork Motorsports. I'll leave it up here on the screen. I post a lot of pictures on there and more updates than I do YouTube. But I plan on making a ton of content with this car. I have more Harley content coming. If you're here for the Harley content, stay tuned for that. I've got a lot more parts coming for that bike, and I just haven't had nice weather to ride around here. I mean, it's been 40s and 50s. We have one day it's sunny and 70, and then the next day it's 32 and snowing. So pure Michigan, that's the kind of weather we have here. It sucks, I know, but unfortunately I don't live in Florida or a warmer climate where I can drive my car every day or ride my Harley every day and make some killer content for you guys. But make sure you guys stay tuned. I am racing. I have like 4 or 5 races set up already for this car. I was waiting to get 500 miles on the car, which I did hit. I'm waiting to go put my drag radials on, which I will make a video on that as well. And then once I get all ready, I'm gonna go out and run these cars. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.